where do I start? I'd like to make this short, a short documentation. Last Friday, I didn't mention something last Friday, as part of my documentation that really does matter. Because it's to do with Nicole from Adult Social Care and the Homeless Outreach Team. So I'll start with that, and then I'll get to the main part of this video documentation, which is Sally Fisher of the Temporary Accommodation Team. And she is the main person that I am aiming this video at, along with all those other extremely unpleasant individuals at Eastbourne Borough Council. And my partner had to come over on a bus today to bring me food. Because I basically would have starved. I'm sorry to use strong words like starved, because obviously I'm not starving to death, am I? But my partner had to go to one of the homeless charities to pick up some free food from Eastbourne and bring it to me. And I've got no money for food. I was really, really hungry. And I'm relying on him. My partner and his father have subsidised me, helped subsidise, I should say, me staying in hotels, me getting to HELLINGLY, Travelodge, me getting here, excuse me, because I had absolutely no money left at all, not for food or hotels or anything. So I was homeless and hungry, street homeless. I'm officially street homeless. Officially, although now I'm in here, but I'll say I've got no money for food or anything till next week. So I'm Sally Fisher of the Temporary Accommodation Team. Upon my arrival yesterday here to this place, she told the proprietors, as I said yesterday when I arrived here, that she does as specifically instructed that my partner is not allowed in the property whatsoever. And this vile individual, Sally Fisher, is full of bitterness, which I will come to in a minute, because I let one of the proprietors of this property, and they're very nice people, well, I haven't met the son, I've met the mother. Both me and my partner met the mother, we haven't met the son, and I'm being very careful how I say this, but because I've got to be very careful with my words, but this is, obviously I'm keeping my location, private, confidential for safety. And I wasn't going to mention any names at Eastbourne Borough Council, but I am. Because I was that angry today that I text the son one of the proprietors of this property. And it's not their fault. It's nothing to do with them. It's nothing to do with this place. It's all to do with Eastbourne Borough Council, who are still abusing me. And I've let the paralegal know this today. They're still abusing me. They're still abusing my human rights and my civil liberties. And it's all going to blow up in their faces. And I've got to be very careful how I word this. Very careful. Because if this did get back to the proprietors somehow, let's say, I don't know how, but let's say it did, for whatever reason. Because I'm not going to stop documenting. They'd love it if I stopped documenting. And that's not going to happen. I'm not going to change myself to suit anyone. But the anonymous proprietor whom I texted today, let's word it that way. At one point he was telling me that his wife of 14 years cheated on him. Now, he was, with all due respect, using, and it's not his fault, but he was using a lot of the, with all due respect, all the new age BS that people use about leave things in the past and trust people and, or you'll be a bitter person and whatnot. And obviously I'm having to be careful with my words, and in just a very short reply I said, do you realise this woman has deceived you? In other words, another woman has deceived you. This Sally Fisher of the temporary accommodation team, according to the proprietor, the son, had texted me today to say, oh, Sally was actually saying what a nice person you are. Did he say? What did he say? She said. I think I might have deleted it. Nothing surprises me. But it's not his fault. What did he say she said? Did I delete it? Sally actually said she thought you was a really good person. So I don't think the mistakes are intentional. Often there is more to the decisions than meets the eye. It might be they, Eastbourne Borough Council, are saying not to have your boyfriend to protect you. No, he protected me at Belmore Road. Sally Fisher was ignoring. They got someone from the council to threaten me to stay away from the Riverbourne house. And I recorded them supporting me when that vile creature who was mentioned in the national news as mugging the elderly. I told him to have a look at those articles and he didn't respond. I completely understand your frustrations, but trust the process, it will come in good in the end. I said, no, I know what you mean, but I'm afraid there is a lot you don't know. And I'd already said a lot to his mother. I haven't met him. They've done so much evil to me. It's all saving face. I can't keep repeating myself. So to make it easier for people who can only see what they can see, and I don't mean this rudely to the proprietor that I'm speaking of, but they can only see things through a small window. They're not going through this. If I've told them every heinous crime that's been committed against me, the corruption, the tyranny, there's only so much I can say. And unfortunately, The enemy wants to use everything, including Christian New Age BS. It's all socially engineered. It's all to brainwash. It's all to keep people asleep. So my response has to be short, simple, boom. And this is the best way for me to do it. Because he had just said, let me know in text, that his wife of 14 years had cheated on him. His business had been taken, stolen by a mate of his. And I feel like saying, hey mate, do you realise you've just been deceived by another woman, i.e. Sally Fisher of the Eastbourne Temporary Housing Team. She's just deceived you. I've just laid it out for you. But you see, I've got to be very careful because I've never met I've met the mother, I haven't met the son. We have to meet in the middle. So what he did was, he said, I advise you not to let your partner in here and I will have a word with them on Monday. And I said, look, thank you and I appreciate that. Again, this is nothing against you or this place. My anger has nothing to do with this place. But I made it very clear. It's very important that I make it very clear because otherwise they'll write down, these psychopath pen pushers will put she's being aggressive rather than she's distressed and she's traumatized. No, they're using trauma to control us. So he's going to have a word with them. I said, I was brutally honest here. I texted him and I said, you know what? I'm quite happy to be evicted. They've got CCTV here. My partner's desperate for the loo. It's raining outside and he can't even come in here just to give me some food. So I'm having to text him this very carefully and keep reminding him that it's nothing personal. It's nothing to do with the proprietors of this property. They're following the rules given to them through Eastbourne Borough Council. So the point that I'm making here is I meant what I said in text. I said, I'm willing. I almost want to be evicted. I said, I don't want to cause you concern. He said, you're not causing me concern. I said, because I'm starving hungry here. He's coming over, he's out of town and he's coming over on a bus to bring me food because I'm hungry and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. Sally Fisher, I had already let her know at the Travelodge in Hellingly, out in the sticks, that Darren had got me there with his own money. He'd paid out of his own pocket and he's borrowed money from his father more than once to help me because of what they've been doing to me over 7 years. They gave him a caring role through Care for the Carers. Okay, Darren, they suggested it. Same thing. The local MP, Caroline Ansell, suggested it. Because I said, even if he was abusing me, even if my partner was abusing me, they are abusing me themselves and they're not taking responsibility for it because I wouldn't be here without him. He found out what they had done with my possessions, that I am paying storage for a place in this town, which is out of Eastbourne. I can't say where I am or I'll give it away, but I grew up here. I grew up in this town and the next town, which is out of Eastbourne. And my godmother is literally just one road up from here, one road round the corner, and I can't go to her. And my eldest sister lives in this town and she's known to be a tyrant and she's a landlady. And I'm actually going to text her, but I'm waiting for the right moment. You're willing. So what I'm trying to say here is that these people are still bullying and controlling me. I was at SDR Living. The care coordinator was sacked. A week before, I was dragged out of my home that was given to me after just 4 months through my doctor's surgery. I was dragged out. I was beaten by the police. The day I received an email from my father's estate saying my father died 18 months ago. And I still don't know the details. So this is going to blow up in everyone's face. Trust me. It's going to happen. We're going home. I'm certainly going home. There's no doubt about that. So the point that I'm making here, as I said, I had let this vile creature know, Sally Fisher of the Eastbourne Temporary Accommodation Team, just like Grace Hill, she is personally responsible for putting my life in danger at Belmore Road. They all are. Every single human being has to be an adult about this. And the problem is, in this day and age, there are very few people behaving like mature adults. No one's taking responsibility for themselves. Each and every one of you, under common law, is responsible for yourself. Every single one of you. I text this person, this anonymous person, proprietor, and I said, I can almost imagine her fakery. Oh, Sally Fisher. Oh, she's a good person. It's all to deflect. It's all to deflect what they have put me through. They've caused me loss, harm, personal damages. They've put my life in danger. And Darren found out what they'd done with my possessions. And she's got the nerve to say she doesn't want my partner in here. Pretending to be concerned. No, because at Belmore Road, Sally, my dear, that property was turned into a fortress. I said it in my last video. It was turned into a fortress. When the corrupt, brutal thug police and property managers, who were all as demented as each other, all as dangerous as each other, because they attacked and assaulted me themselves, under common law, they caused me loss, harm, personal damages. And the police were the ones saying, in this all-female property that was sold as a women's refuge to one of them was told it was a women's refuge. And other people were like, no, it's not. It's a temporary accommodation. They suggested Darren stayed with me to keep me safe because this stupid girl, who was off her head on drugs, had attacked me when I was in the bath, completely unprovoked. And Justin of Charles Lucas Property Management wasn't listening to me. He just said, are there other people in the property? I said, well, I can hear some male voices. And then at some point, I'm in the bath and I'm being attacked. And it was like a scene from The Shining horror. There were splinters in the carpet with holes in the door. I had a towel wrapped around me. The two numpties, PC Austin and PC Broadway. PC Soph wasn't there, the silly little girl. The three stooges who'd beaten me on Beachy Head and then slandered me in the Herald saying, she beat us. Ooh. You only have to upset their little feelings. The little snowflakes. Yes. And they just less than a few weeks earlier, they'd beaten me on Beachy Head during a welfare check. Honestly, do you know what? My heart bleeds for these poor children. What are they coming into? What are they coming into? This is why I don't want to bring this in here. There's a tiny newborn baby next door. I don't want the tiny baby to, even though a tiny baby doesn't understand words, I don't want this out there, because as Dr. William Snowblum says, as Darren was saying to me, don't swear. He doesn't even like me saying the word fart, but he doesn't want me to put anything negative out there, quite rightly, and because our hedge of protection will be affected. So anyway, getting back to the point of the matter is he's not allowed here, but I had to keep him. So basically I text this proprietor and I said, okay, so it's difficult because I'm trying not to seem like I'm being rude, but I'm being angry at the same time. Not to them, but you know. So I said, look, it's raining, he's on the doorstep, and I'm going to have to go out there. He's dying for the loo, I can't let him in. And he texted me back to say, well done. You're very strong, or something like that, which I appreciated, because he said, please don't let him in. I don't want you evicted. Please take my advice, because if they do evict you, it will be a nightmare for you, and which me and my partner are only too aware of. So even if I'd said to my partner, I don't care about being evicted, get in here, give me that food and go to the loo, he wouldn't have anyway. So I've gone out there tonight. We had a cup of tea in McDonald's, trying to avoid eating their crap because we don't know what's in it. One of the bottles of water that I was given the other day from the homeless charity, my partner poured it down the drain and he said, don't drink this because of the metals that are in this water. Thankfully, he's clued up on this stuff. I mean, yeah, I know about the biblical foods. I know what not to eat and all that. And thankfully, you know, we keep the Sabbath. So, you know, I'm up on bits and pieces, but, you know, he's very, very, what's the word? Astute is that word. This bottle of water, was it called not Perino, was it? It's got a red star on it, but you've got to be very careful with the maker of this water because it's got metals in it. So, anyway, so I've gone and waved goodbye to him, but I was going to say to him, look, I've had enough. I've got stuff everywhere in different towns. The stuff that he went in to collect from SDR, well, he didn't collect it, sorry, no, he found out what they'd done with my stuff. This is what I mean. It's narcissists attacking narcissists. It's every man for himself. And your time is coming to an end. You I can't keep stressing it enough. The chickens are coming home to roost. Yes, Darren, you're right. A lyric from an Adamant song. Yes, you're right. We're going home. Heaven will be a place on earth. The land will go back to farming. Our Saviour's coming back. And there are a lot of people he's going to turn away from, and many of them will have a nasty shock because they think that they're serving him. Some of them think they're serving Yeshua HaMashiach, our Saviour, and they're not. And he'll say, go, for I never knew you. You've got a choice. You know, I'm going through a purging. So, like a purge, you know. The seasons. There's a season for suffering that we've been going through those seasons of suffering, and that's it now. I only went to HELLINGLY and then came to this place which is out of Eastbourne, out of town. I didn't have the money to do it. But even with my partner's help, I was ready to throw the towel in. But I am doing what the paralegal and what my partner is suggesting. I'm just engaging. They love these words. I'm always engaging. I'm crying out, but they're not doing what they should be doing. And that's it now. This is crunch time for them. This is it now. I'm doing a send to all email because my partner went down to my late mother's estate executor, and she wouldn't speak to him because of a conflict of interest. Now I've got to be very careful what I say but I don't have any money, because legal aid years ago, I went to legal aid years ago, not long after my mother died. And at Brighton Housing Trust, the legal aid, this Martin, was saying, you've got capital. I said, I don't have capital. And I was getting the executor of my late mother's estate to write a professional letter to say she does not have capital. Anyway, I've really been screwed over by the system. So there's this batting backwards and forwards. And talking of the doctor, whom I reported to the GMC, and the GMC is a scam, which I explained in one of my videos, and a doctor has warned people about it. And then a week later, my doctor's surgery, who got me into that one-bedroom flat, allowed me to have my flat brutally taken from me, with crimes committed against me once again. And Sally Fisher and the TA team and all of them are in on it. They're all in on it. They're all aware. I'll answer it in a minute. So that's my partner ringing. So what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say here? Anyway, no, I'm just repeating myself with everything. But I've still got to add to the 100% of bad reviews on Trustpilot for the GMC, as I did with the local government and social care ombudsman. Dan Saxby of BHT had said, go to them for compensation because lots of homeless people are being detained in police cells. And I used thousands of pounds of backpip on hotels just for my safety because I'm attacked. And Sally Fisher's got the nerve to ban my partner. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Darren. And they all know about my YouTube channel because Councillor Josh Babarundi wouldn't tell me who it was who told him. He didn't even formally introduce himself. He just said, I know about your YouTube channel. And then he realised he'd said too much. So they all know. The police were beating me in A&E. The very PC Ford who dragged me out of my home was playing my YouTube videos. I can't word this. There's only so many ways I can word this before people have to decide whether they're going to believe me and or do something about it. I can't keep wording this so many different ways. You either do something about it or you don't. Okay? So I'm putting my foot down. It's really quite simple. It's so simple. Don't make this any harder because you're the one who's going to be suffering, not me. It will be you. Because all we're going to do is just keep batting it back. It's your responsibility. Bat, 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 bat. And you can use all the phrases. You can keep repeating yourself. But it's going to, it's more than just a little wearing. Let's face it. So, I would not be here if it wasn't for Darren. Don't bother with the fakery. don't bother. So, yeah, so on Monday, the proprietor is going to ring Sally Fisher and Eastbourne Borough Council and Andrew Cook, who said, let's concentrate on moving forward, and Darren overheard him and he said, tell Jemima the way he was speaking to you was as if he was talking to you about your exam results. Patronising, let's move forward, but they're not, because they're still trying to take away my human rights and civil liberties. See? You give my partner a caring role. You banned him from visiting me in the hospital. You arrest him. You arrest me so many times. You don't lay a finger on actual criminals. One of my assailants, whom was mentioned in the BBC News online as mugging the elderly, with 22 previous convictions. No. And you, Sally, think that you can still stop my partner from coming in here just to give me some food because I'm starving bloody hungry. Whoops. I rebuke that word. In Yahweh's name. I said to my partner earlier, I was laughing because I was swearing. I said I have to for the sake of sanity. His friend, who knows Juliet, by the way, my crucial lady witness, it's a small world. He's living in Bexhill, but apparently he's been having the same problems that I've been having with his new GP. I'll be very careful because no one knows who I'm talking about here. But he's been taking temazepam. Is it diazepam or temazepam? One of them's quite dangerous. There's either diazepam or temazepam. They used to give it to they used to hand it out to elderly patients, but and the doctor said, you haven't been taking this particular medication. And he said, I have. And the doctor was arguing with him, saying, no, you haven't. He said, yes, I have. Now, he should know what he's been taking, but I could relate because this GP was looking at what was written on record, and we all know what that means. And he was saying, no, you haven't. Yes, I have. So, and apparently he said, you've got schizophrenia. And he said, I haven't been diagnosed with schizophrenia. So he was trying to get his bus pass as well, which I've been trying to get. This is something that the GP is meant to have done for me. But he's just allowed my home to be stolen from me and for me to wander the streets. The self-contained flat that I had for 4 months that was stolen from me. Yeah. I haven't had my bus pass sorted out. So this is where I'm going with this. So basically, my partner's friend whom I'm referring to, this is what he was telling me in McDonald's earlier. And then I started sort of making a sick joke about it because I said, yes, and you know what they did to me? Because the psychiatrist wanted to suggest that I suffered from psychosis just because I put up a protest like a normal person at being dragged into a building that made me homeless when my mother was dying of cancer. They were dragging me in handcuffs in there, and I was putting up a protest. And these numpties were falling on the floor looking really stupid. And I was trying to say to the receptionist at St Mary's House, do you see what I mean? And she looked as white as a sheet. And I made them look stupid. And they didn't like that, which is why they assaulted me in A&E. And they've done it again. And this time they've given me an x-ray afterwards. So anyway, after this psychosis diagnosis, because Dr. Baginski said, we thought you were having a psychotic episode, when in actual fact, these psychopaths were assaulting me and I was putting up a protest, as you would do when you've been very severely failed as a victim of corruption. And I said to Darren, well, you remember I was at Brighton police station when they showed me what they'd then decided to write down, which is she doesn't have a treatable mental health condition, or she doesn't have a mental health condition that's treatable. What? You see, they're playing it to their own tune that gets them out of having to do sweet BA. And that's how they leave you. So it's a joke. So we go from psychosis to she has no treatable mental health condition, which is rubbish. So why am I on severe disability? Why am I gone from 25 odd years begging for help to she's got no mental health condition? 25, over 25, no, it's about 26 years asking for help with mental health since I was at school, to she's got psychosis, to she's got nothing. She's got no mental health condition. So what am I? A benefit fraud? You gave my partner a caring role because he thought it would generate some extra help, and all you did was ban him from visiting me, and now you're banning him from bringing me food. Even my sister, who's overweight, saw my stomach when my mother died. She's a landlady. She said, I can't use the words that she used, but she's like, Bridie, you need to put on weight, because my stomach was dipping in because I couldn't physically eat, because a social worker landlord told me it was down to me to get help, and my mother's friend said, oh, are they helping you with her cancer? No, because my late father's estate are doing what these nutcases at SDR Living should have done for me. They're finding out how my father died 18 months ago. I get a police beating on Beachy Head, a beating on my birthday. I get my home stolen from me. Absolutely nothing. And I'm in a much better place than these people will ever be, because I've got the knowledge. Knowledge is power if you use it for the right reasons. So, yes, I understand my partner's friend, even though he wasn't very nice to me, and he was one of the ones who bullied me with when that crazy Eastbourne People's Assembly. Funny. Anyway, so there's nothing really much more to say. By the way, Warrior Wales, if you're watching this, that, as I said, that police abusing powers video with my phone number on is still up. And me and Juliet Rawson had reported it, so it's meant to have been taken down, but it's still up there. And that, coupled with what you shared with me on Facebook, the evidence of the police abusing powers community saying, I hope Bryony suicides, that should be reported. These are all crimes that, whether you do or don't do anything, I'm taking it forward, I'm taking it seriously, but I'm just trying to get through every day at a time for every crime that's been committed against me. So, yeah, I've started this video back to front because I said I was going to start by saying what happened last Friday. Well, last Friday, basically, it's Friday today. Well, actually, it's now Shabbat, Shalom Shabbat. It's the 1st of July, so Shalom Shabbat. It starts at sunset on Friday. Shabbat does, the Sabbath. Last Friday, Nicole from Adult Social Care. You know, this is someone who had spent ages saying, oh, I'm so sorry for all the previous failings. I'm so sorry. We'll make a fresh start. I'm sorry, but I have to mock you. I've never met you before, but Nicole out there, wherever you are, from Adult Social Care, Eastbourne. Don't mean to mock you, but I've heard it all before. And none of you stop. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for all the failings. I'm so sorry. And then last Friday, you were meant to phone me in the afternoon. You never did. You got the out of hours outreach team, Albert and Nate, to contact me. Firstly, Albert had phoned me last Friday at 5 o'clock in the morning. No, he texted me at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then he rang me at 7:30. Me and my partner were self-funding one of the hotels in Eastbourne before we had to go because we couldn't afford the hotels because of the tennis nonsense. So, because it's extortionate, it's like £200 a night, even in a budget hotel during the tennis. So they'll rake it in. If there's ever an event, it doesn't matter what it is, airborne, anything, they'll rake it. They want to rake in as much money. Yes, I know hotels need to cover their costs and all that, but it's all part of the nonsense. But anyway, so this Albert from the outreach team, what is the point of Nicole from Adult Social Care apologising to me for all the failings, knowing I'm officially street homeless, only to get the Albert from the outreach team to contact me to say, we can't help you because we need to see you actually sleeping rough. And as other people have said to me, including people from Matthew 25 and Nicole's colleague from from Adult Social Care, they agreed with me that it's dangerous to sleep rough, but they actually have to see me sleeping rough before they can help me. I've done that before. I've had attempted rape. I don't want to do it again. I've been to the Saturn Rape Victim Centre. I've been to Hove Crown Court. I've put someone 2 years in prison, 10 years on a sex offenders register, and compared to what the police have done to me, that was a walk in the park and a laugh. Compared to what they've just done to me, if you have a look on my Facebook wall, the beatings by the police as a response to my father's death on a world-famous suicide spot. So you see where I'm going with this, as per usual. So I said, as I did to Albert and Nate from the outreach homeless team, rough sleepers, why bother contacting me? Because he contacted me just to say, well, you see, we have to see you sleeping rough, otherwise we'd have about 500 people coming to us. At that point, I think the phone cut out, and to be honest, I didn't have the physical energy to contact him. If you look at those videos of me at SDR Living, where I'm crying my eyes out because I've lost my father, or I'm lying in bed because I've got no energy, I'm like a bedridden old woman. This is how people get cancer. This is why the social worker landlord said to me, you might want to check. You haven't inherited your late mother's rare cancer. I'm fighting that, so that I don't end up on drugs and that I don't do what they want me to do. These psychopath elitists, they want to get rid of the undesirables. They'd love me to just, that's it, disappear. But I'm not. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't take drugs. I've had an early midlife crisis. I've lost my late mother, who was my soulmate. She'd be 85 now. Now I've lost my father. I didn't see him. Hadn't seen him for nearly 30 years. I don't know how he died 18 months ago. We had some painful conversations on Facebook. I paid the Salvation Army family tracing £45 to find him, and they did. Well, what's the point? What's the point? Sussex police contact him, and he thinks this is just attention seeking, and he's died not knowing the horrific things that have been happening to me as a result of this corruption. So there you go. So yes, that's what happened last Friday. Nicole from Adult Social Care. I mean, Trudy Hampton was homeless herself. She set up the charity Warming Up the Homeless. Several times she contacted the homeless out of hours. They do it every day. She said, if you don't hear back from me, it means they're not doing anything. But even with legal help, this is how you get treated, like dirt. I'm not having a go at the paralegal when I say that, but I have got some pretty harsh complaints to make about the law firm because of how they started. In fact, earlier today, one of the call handlers wouldn't let me finish saying my message and ended the call on me, which is exactly what my late mother's accountancy firm, my late mother's estate, did to me when I said, Alison, she said, I need to keep the phone. I said, it was at the point when I said my partner's climbing over the railings of the pier. Oh, don't want to know that. Suicidal, don't want to hear it. About to kill himself, don't want to know. And Sue Pocklington, you didn't want to. Conflict of interest. Yes, there is, but there's a conflict of interest when you're threatening me with the police. You know, do you want me to put bad reviews on Trustpilot? Because I don't want to do that about my late mother's estate, because I've got respect for my late mother. But you haven't got respect for me. Therefore, you don't have respect for my mother, because I'm telling you now, she'd be 85 and she wouldn't take any of this. She wouldn't take one of these things. And all it starts with is just asking for a little bit of support. A little bit of support. But as many people have said to me, if you're an alcoholic, if you were on drugs, you get the help. You see, this is the inverted, satanic, Luciferian. They've infiltrated every institution. The Tavistock Institute is the prime example where many victims were tortured, including Jeanette Archer, a satanic ritual abuse survivor. And I met Jeanette Archer. I'm very proud to say that I met, or should I say, I'm honoured to have met Jeanette Archer's bodyguard at the conference where one of the speakers had a mutual friend of my late mother's. My late mother's friend was a mutual friend of one of the speakers at the conference where I met Jeanette Archer's bodyguard at Ashburnham Place in December. And he doesn't know that my home has just been brutally taken from me. So, there we go. So, I was very close to saying, do you know what? I'm going to get this bag of rubbish and I'm going to throw it back in all your laps. And I'm just going to say, there you go, you deal with it. Sue Pocklington and the paralegal who's dealing with my case, the executor of my late mother's estate and the paralegal have got the video evidence taken from my YouTube channel of the crimes that have been committed against me. So if they see those videos, that means they are a witness to those crimes. Just like Juliet Rawson, my crucial witness, who has worked for St Mary's House. She has seen those videos in front of me. So she is a witness to crimes that have not been looked at, that have been committed against me. This is very, very serious, and you cannot worm your way out of this. None of you can. Shalom Shabbat, though. My partner is the one who's encouraging my faith, when I'd much rather say F it all and throw everything up in the air. He's the one who took me to the Hebrew Aramaic scriptures. And by the way, do you like my watch? He won this for me on the pier. And we had to have time out. He won that for me from the 10p. You know how the tuppence suits me, doesn't it? It goes with anything I wear. But look at that. He won that from the 10p machine. I know what you're thinking. Oh, you bet you've lost more than you've won. Well, it's just a bit of time out time. Times like this, I wish I had, like, if I knew someone, if I'd had my little, well, my goddaughter would be 16 now, but if I had someone else's child, I won quite a few bits on the tuppence slot machine, but my partner's very good at this. You win these tickets where you collect so many tickets and you choose a prize, and we took a mug. When I worked in Playland with the Freemason at the garden centre, you to be able to win stuff, and with the tickets, it was much easier and cheaper back then. And I used to help out on the children's rides, and it was only £1.50 for a wristband for the children, but that was over 20 years ago. I always said, if I ever have a child, I'll take them to Playland. But I don't think it's there anymore. And it certainly wouldn't be £1.50 for a wristband for unlimited rides. It's a great idea, isn't it? Go and have a cup of tea with your friend while your children are running from ride to ride. And it could be a bit boring, a bit mind-numbingly. I preferred being a costume character. That was more my thing. But anyway, that was before I knew that a Freemason was a Satanist. I just thought he was a dirty old man who told my mother he wanted to impregnate me and that I should be impregnated, and he wanted to be the one to do it. He was older than my father. Yeah, I was a teenager. But I feel responsible for a lot of that though. But anyway, there we go, you know, whatever. Anyway, I'll say Shalom Shabbat. You've got to have days where you can just run away. Not bad, is it? I mean, it's really quite nice. It looks like you could have bought it in the shops, but it come from the 10p slot machine. We just had to get away. We have to get away. I haven't just been wasting pennies. You just have to have time out, or you'll go mad. Anyway, but yes, we're very careful with our pennies, as it were. I've had to keep buying clothes every time that they met. Every time I complained about serious things, bed bugs crawling on me, being attacked, they'd make me street homeless, and I'm fighting back. I'm fighting this evil. They're doing this to someone who is already suicidal and bereaved. They've tried every wicked trick in the book. Every wicked trick. But me and Darren are going home. We are the ones who are going home. So they really wanted, they'd move me around, and the whole idea of being a targeted individual is to exhaust that person, exhaust them. This is how people get cancer, heart disease, dementia, is to wear you down so that you'll give up. Do not. Shalom Yahweh, Shalom Shabbat Yahweh.